You did everything right. You stayed in school. You got the degree. You worked hard. You avoided trouble. You followed the rules. So why does it still feel like you're running on a financial treadmill that never stops? Why do you work harder every year, but somehow feel poorer? Why does it seem like no matter how much you earn, the system always finds a way to take it back? Here's the uncomfortable truth most people never realize. The system you trusted to make you successful was never designed to make you wealthy. And once you see this, you can never unsee it. Stay with me until the end of this video, because we're going to break down the $100,000 salary trap, the hidden wealth gap, and the financial rules the wealthy follow that nobody teaches in school, and most importantly, how you can escape it. From the moment we're children, society hands us a blueprint for success. The plan seems simple. Study hard, get a degree, find a stable job, work for 40 years, retire someday. It sounds logical. But here's the problem. That model was designed over 100 years ago, during the industrial era, when companies needed obedient workers, not financially independent thinkers. The system rewards productivity, but it doesn't reward ownership. And that's the first rule of modern wealth. Workers earn income. Owners build wealth. If you rely only on a paycheck, you're participating in a game where the odds are stacked against you. And the data proves it. Even people making six-figure salaries are living paycheck to paycheck today. This phenomenon is now known as the $100,000 salary trap, and millions are stuck inside it. Let's imagine two people. Both earn $100,000 per year. Person A follows the traditional advice. They upgrade their apartment, buy a new car, increase their lifestyle, take expensive vacations. On the outside, life looks successful, but behind the scenes, rent increases, debt increases, expenses increase. And suddenly that six-figure income disappears faster than expected. Person B does something different. Instead of upgrading lifestyle, they upgrade assets, they invest. They build income streams. They learn about financial freedom, passive income, investing, and wealth building. 10 years later, their lives look completely different. Same starting salary, but radically different outcomes. Why? Because one followed the consumption model. The other followed the ownership model. Here's something most people never realize. The financial system quietly pushes people towards spending, not investing. Think about it. Every day you see thousands of ads telling you to buy things. New phones, new cars, new clothes, new subscriptions. But how many ads teach you how to build wealth, invest in stocks, or generate passive income? Almost none. Because a consumer economy thrives when people spend. But wealth grows when people own assets. This is why the wealthy focus on three core pillars: ownership, investment, leverage. Meanwhile, most people are focused on working more hours. That's the biggest financial trap of all, because there is a limit to how much time you can sell. But there is no limit to how many assets you can own. Many people believe the key to wealth is simply earning more money. But income alone doesn't create wealth. In fact, some of the highest earners in the world still struggle financially. Professional athletes, doctors, celebrities. Why? Because wealth is not determined by how much you earn. It's determined by how much you keep and multiply. And this is where investing becomes critical. Stocks, real estate, businesses, index funds. These assets generate compounding growth over time. And compounding is the most powerful force in personal finance. Small investments today can become massive wealth in the future, but only if you start early. Imagine investing just $500 per month. Millions. Just $500. With an average return of about 8% per year, something incredible happens over time. At first, the progress looks slow, but then the compounding effect accelerates. After 10 years, modest growth. After 20 years, significant wealth. After 30 years, potentially hundreds of thousands or even millions. The secret isn't luck, it's time plus consistency. This is why the wealthy prioritize investing before upgrading their lifestyle. Because every dollar invested today can work for you forever, while every dollar spent is gone forever. Quick pause. If you're starting to see how the financial system really works, type financial freedom in the comments. It helps this video reach more people who need to hear this message. And if you're learning something new, consider subscribing. This channel is dedicated to breaking down wealth-building strategies, investing tips, passive income ideas, and financial independence principles that most schools never teach. Now, let's continue, because the biggest secret of wealth is still ahead. The rich don't play the same game. Here's something that shocks most people. The wealthy don't just work harder. They play a completely different financial game. Instead of trading time for money, they focus on building systems that generate money automatically. This includes investments, businesses, assets, intellectual property, real estate. Each of these creates cash flow without requiring constant labor. Meanwhile, most people rely entirely on one fragile income source, their job, and that creates risk. Because if that income disappears, everything collapses. Wealthy individuals solve this problem by creating multiple income streams. Most millionaires have multiple income sources. Here are the most common ones: earned income, your job or career; investment income, stocks, ETFs, dividends; real estate income, rental properties, and property appreciation; business income, entrepreneurship or online businesses; passive income, digital products, royalties, licensing. The more income streams you build, the less dependent you become on any single paycheck. And that's when financial stress begins to disappear. The financial awakening. At some point, many people experience a powerful realization. They suddenly understand the goal isn't just earning money. The goal is buying freedom. Freedom from debt, freedom from paycheck to paycheck living, freedom to choose how you spend your time. And that freedom comes from assets, investments, and financial education, not from blindly following outdated rules. The lifestyle inflation trap. Here's something that quietly destroys more wealth than bad investments ever could. Lifestyle inflation. The moment people start earning more money, their lifestyle grows just as fast. New salary, upgrade the apartment. Promotion, upgrade the car. Bonus, upgrade the vacation. But here's the problem. Every lifestyle upgrade locks you into higher fixed expenses. And fixed expenses are the silent killer of financial freedom. Because when your expenses grow with your income, you never actually move forward financially. You just run faster on the same treadmill. This is why many people making $50,000 per year feel broke. And surprisingly, many people making $150,000 per year feel exactly the same way. The real difference between wealthy individuals and everyone else isn't income. It's financial discipline and asset accumulation. The wealthy delay gratification. Everyone else upgrades their lifestyle. Here's a mental shift that changes everything about money. Instead of asking, "What can I buy with this money?" wealth builders ask, "What asset can I acquire that will pay me back?" This is the asset mindset. Assets include things like dividend-paying stocks, index funds, rental real estate, online businesses, digital products, royalties. These assets generate cash flow and long-term wealth growth. Meanwhile, liabilities do the opposite. Luxury cars, consumer debt, credit card balances. These drain money from your future. The difference between rich and poor is often just one simple question: does this purchase make me richer or poorer? Why schools never taught this? Have you ever wondered why schools teach calculus, but not investing? Why students graduate with degrees, but no knowledge of compound interest, stock markets, passive income, real estate, investing, financial independence? The truth is simple. The traditional education system was designed to prepare people to enter the workforce, not escape it. Financial literacy was never the focus. And because of that, millions of intelligent, hardworking people spend decades working without understanding how money truly works. But once you learn the fundamentals of wealth building, investing, and financial strategy, your entire perspective changes. The real secret to wealth is compound interest. If there's one concept that creates more millionaires than any other, it's compound growth. Albert Einstein called it the eighth wonder of the world. And when you understand it, the whole wealth-building strategy becomes obvious. This simple principle explains how money grows exponentially over time. Here's the fascinating part. Compound interest rewards time, not just money. Someone who invests small amounts consistently for decades can outperform someone who starts later with much larger investments. That's why starting early is one of the most powerful financial advantages anyone can have. Even small monthly investments can turn into enormous wealth. But most people postpone investments for years, sometimes decades. And those lost years can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars in future wealth. The financial wake-up moment for many people, there is a moment when everything suddenly becomes clear. Maybe it happens after a job loss. Maybe it happens after seeing someone achieve financial freedom. Or maybe it happens during a quiet moment when you realize, I've been working hard for years, but I'm not actually getting ahead. That realization can be painful, but it can also be powerful, because awareness is the first step toward financial transformation. Once you see the system clearly, you can begin to play the game differently, and that's when things start to change. The plan for wealth is, if you study self-made millionaires, a pattern constantly repeats itself. They follow a simple financial plan. Step 1, spend less than you earn. Step 2, invest the difference. Step 3, acquire income-generating assets. Step 4, reinvest the profits. Step 5, repeat for years. It seems simple, but simple doesn't mean easy. The hardest part of building wealth is consistency. It's not excitement. It's not luck. Consistency, because wealth is rarely built overnight. It's built quietly through daily financial decisions. Let me ask you something. If someone had explained this to you when you were 18 years old, how different would your life look today? How much money could you have invested? How much financial stress could you have avoided? This is why financial education matters so much. Because the earlier you learn these principles, the more powerful they become. Financial freedom isn't about luxury. It's about control over your time. The real goal is reaching a point where your investments generate enough income to cover your living expenses. When that happens, something extraordinary occurs. Work becomes optional, not because you stop working, but because you no longer have to. This is the essence of financial independence, and it's achievable through disciplined investing, asset ownership, and long-term thinking. The biggest lie about money is one of the most harmful beliefs people have is this: I'll start investing when I earn more money, but waiting is costly. Because time is the most powerful ingredient in wealth creation. Even small investments made today can outperform large investments made years later. That's the paradox of money. The sooner you start, the easier it gets. The longer you wait, the harder it gets. And this brings us back to the original question. You followed the rules. You worked hard. You did everything society told you to do. So why are you still struggling financially? Because the rules you were given were incomplete. They taught you how to earn money, but not how to grow it. And once you understand the difference, your financial life can change forever. The salary illusion is a truth most people discover too late. A high salary may seem like financial success, but it can also become a financial illusion. Because when your entire life depends on a single paycheck, your financial stability is more fragile than it seems. Think about it. A company decision, an economic recession, an unexpected crisis. And suddenly, that income disappears. That's why financial experts constantly emphasize income diversification, not just investment diversification, but diversification of how money enters your life. This includes things like dividend investing, real estate, cash flow, online businesses, extra income, digital assets, royalties, and licensing. These streams create something powerful. Income that doesn't demand your constant time. And as soon as you experience even a small amount of passive income, your entire mindset begins to change because you realize something profound. Money can work for you, and not just because of you. The wealth gap nobody talks about is this. There's a hidden gap in modern society that almost nobody talks about. It's not just about the income gap. It's about the knowledge gap. The difference between people who build wealth and those who struggle financially often boils down to one factor: financial literacy. Understanding concepts such as compound interest investing in index funds, asset allocation, passive income strategies, long-term wealth building. These concepts are simple once learned. But if nobody ever teaches them, they remain invisible. And when something is invisible, it's impossible to use. That's why financial education is one of the most powerful tools anyone can acquire. It transforms your view of money, work, risk, and opportunities. Now, let's visualize a 10-year financial transformation. Let's imagine two versions of your future. The first version continues exactly as it is today. You work hard. Your income increases slowly. Expenses rise with inflation. And financial stress never completely disappears. Now, imagine the second version. You begin to learn about investing, financial independence, and wealth building. You start small. Maybe 200 reals a month, maybe 500 reals, but you remain consistent. Over the next decade, something extraordinary happens. Your investments begin to generate returns. These returns generate more returns. And eventually, your money starts working harder than you. This is the financial tipping point. The moment when your wealth begins to multiply faster than your effort. And this moment changes everything. Pause for a second and imagine this. What if 10 years from now, your investments generated more income than your job? What would your life look like? Where would you live? How would you spend your time? For millions of people pursuing financial independence and early retirement, this isn't a fantasy. It's a strategy. The first step most people avoid, the hardest step in building wealth, isn't investing. It isn't learning about stocks. It isn't even starting a business. The hardest step is taking control of your financial awareness. Understanding exactly how much you earn, how much you spend, where your money actually goes. Because when people finally track their finances honestly, they discover something shocking. Small daily spending habits can quietly drain thousands of dollars per year. Subscriptions, impulse purchases, convenience spending. None of these feel significant individually. But over years, they represent massive amounts of lost investment potential. Money that could have been compounding. The financial shift that transforms everything. Everything separates people who stagnate from those who eventually build wealth. They stop thinking like consumers and start thinking like investors. Consumers ask, "What can I buy?" Investors ask, "What can generate a return?" Consumers focus on the present. Investors focus on the future. Consumers trade money for comfort. Investors trade comfort for future freedom. This shift may seem small, but over time, It leads to radically different financial outcomes. The real reason for all of this is, so let's go back to the question that started this whole video. You followed the rules. You worked hard. You did what society told you to do. So why are you still struggling financially? Because traditional rules only teach one side of the money equation. They teach you how to make money, but not how to build wealth. And those are two completely different games. When you understand this difference, you stop playing blind. You start creating a strategy. You start investing. You start acquiring assets. And little by little, step by step, your financial life begins to transform. Here's the moment that changes everything for many people. It's the moment when you stop asking, how can I make more money? And start asking, how can I make money work for me? That single shift is the foundation of wealth building, passive income, financial independence, and long-term investing. Because when you focus only on income, your progress is limited by time. But when you focus on assets, investments, and compounding, your money begins to grow exponentially. This principle is what drives stock market investing, index fund growth, and long-term wealth accumulation. And the earlier you start, the more powerful it becomes. That's why the people who achieve financial freedom aren't necessarily the smartest. They're the ones who start earlier and stay consistent. So, if you've ever felt like you followed every rule, worked harder every year, and still wondered why wealth feels out of reach, now you know the truth. The system taught you how to work, but it never taught you how to build wealth. And once you understand the difference, your financial future can begin to change. If this video changed how you see money even a little, do two things right now. First, comment financial freedom below. Second, share this video with someone who is working hard but still feels financially stuck. Because millions of people are following rules that were never designed to make them wealthy. But once you learn the principles of investing, passive income, wealth building, and financial independence, everything changes. And remember this, you may not control the system, but you can absolutely control how you play the game. Subscribe for more videos about financial literacy, investing strategies, passive income ideas, and escaping the paycheck-to-paycheck cycle. Because the sooner you understand money, the sooner money can start working for you.